Well, hi there, everyone. Welcome to the fifth week of the Tuesday night quiz I'm doing here during lockdown. Fifth week on the 5th of the 5th, so best of luck for everyone tonight. A little bit easier quiz than last week. I know a few of you said it was quite difficult last week, so it made it slightly easier, but as ever, they're only easy if you know them. As ever, you can follow any info on me here on YouTube, or maybe look on my Twitter channel just to see if there's any up-and-coming quizzes. I'll put information about those up-and-coming events on there. There's the Tuesday night quiz, and then there's usually a Friday night quiz as well, and other little bits going on as well. But I think if we plod on with this evening's quiz, that'd be the best thing. We'll just go on to the rules if you're not too sure. Grab yourself a pen and paper, then there's 5 rounds of 10 questions. And then each round is also a bonus question that's worth 2 points each. I'll make it quite clear what question that is. At the end of each round, there'll be a minute for final answering, final discussion with anyone, just to make sure you've got all your answers right. After 3 rounds, we'll mark the first 3, and then we'll have a 5-minute break just for you to go and stretch your legs, go and grab a drink, whatever you need to do. Then 2 more rounds after that, and then we'll do the final marking. Regarding the live chat, I'll switch it off now for the quiz. I'll leave that on at the end if you want to put, and during the 5-minute break in the middle, if you want to update on your scores and let us know how you're getting on, that'd be good. So there's a 60-point total for the quiz, 5 rounds of 12. I think today any scores over 40 would be good. But like I say, I'll switch off the live chat now. It is just for fun, this quiz as well, so please be nice to me if I've made any mistakes or any errors in the questions, or probably more importantly, the answers, so just keep an eye on that. But as I say, pop anything you want in the comments. But here we go, let's get on with the first round. And the first round this week is food and drink. As I say, 10 questions, so let's start with the first one. From which animal does Italian pancetta come from? From which animal does Italian pancetta come from? Now, I'll leave a little bit of time just between questions, just for you to discuss it with your friends and family, whoever you're playing with. But like I say, there is a minute's thinking time at the end of each round for final discussions. So we'll go straight on with question 2. In the food and drink round, it is, what is the main ingredient of tarka dal? What's the main ingredient of tarka dal? So again, just a few more seconds on these early questions just to get your pen and paper into gear, but we'll try and speed along quite quickly. It usually lasts about an hour with all the breaks, all the stop times, etc. Just under an hour, so hopefully that's long enough to spend on a Tuesday evening. But question 3, food and drink, let's speed on through. It is, which fatty acid is found in many fish and considered to be of a major health benefit? Which fatty acid is found in many fish and considered to be of a major health benefit? Moving on to question 4. What type of fish are our broth smokies? What type of fish are our broth smokies? And remember, there is a minute's thinking time at the end of each round, so if you're unsure of an answer, just write a note somewhere on your paper. You can always come back to it in that thinking time at the end. But we'll move on to question 5. Now, question 5 in each round is the one that has a bonus question after it, and the bonus question for 2 points is kind of related to something in question 5. So it's worth remembering the question in question 5, even if you don't get the answer. And question 5 for the 1 point is, if a dish is described as à la Florentine, which vegetable would you expect to find in it? If a dish is described as à la Florentine, which vegetable would you expect to find in it? So that's question 5, and the bonus question for 2 points when we come to the marking of these, and it relates to question 5. Which cartoon character famously found hidden strength by eating this leafy vegetable? Which cartoon character famously found hidden strength by eating this leafy vegetable? So that's in some way related to the answer for the 1 point of question 5. Each round will have one of these bonus questions, 2 points for a bonus question as well, hence 60 points in total for the quiz as a whole. And we'll move back on to the single point questions. In food and drink, question 6 is, mace grows around the outside of which other spice? Mace grows around the outside of which other spice? Okay, go on to question 7, which is Hendrix, Larios, and Sipsmiths are some of the best-selling brands of which spirit? Hendrix, Larios, and Sipsmiths are some of the best-selling brands of which spirit? And that leads us on. Question 8 in food and drink, 3 to go. If you saw chou-fleur on a French menu, which vegetable would the dish include? If you saw chou-fleur on a French menu, which vegetable would the dish include? And 2 more questions to go in this round. Question 9 is, which Swedish word beginning with the letter S is a term for a buffet-style meal with a selection of hot and cold dishes? Which Swedish word beginning with S is a buffet-style meal with a selection of hot and cold dishes? Now, as ever with these quizzes as well, if there's any potential spelling mistakes, let's try and be lenient when we come to marking that if you're marking it in teams. If somebody knows what the answer is, let's just be a little bit lenient on spellings. And the final question in the food and drink round is, which herb is usually used in the production of pesto? Which herb is usually used in the production of pesto? So that brings us to the end of round 1, food and drink. Like I say, there's now a minute's thinking time just to finalise any answers you weren't sure of. There is a minute at the end of each round as well, so in rounds 2 and 3, you can always go back to questions in rounds 1 and 2 if need be, if you're still unsure of those. But a minute per round just to get some answers finalised. I'll pop a minute on the clock, starting now. Okay, so that's a minute over, a minute's thinking time. Hopefully you've managed to complete an answer at least for all the questions in round 1, food and drink. It's the same format for all the rounds, 10 questions as well. So let's move on to round 2, slogans. This week we look for the slogans and what product they're advertising. So question 1 is, it's a bit of an animal. A bit of an animal. Question 2, in slogans, which product was advertised with loves the jobs you hate? Loves the jobs you hate. These are quite quick fire, these ones as well, so if you're not too sure, just write a little note on the side. We've got a minute at the end. Question 3 in slogans. Which product had the slogan, what's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that can happen? Question 4 in slogans. Which product had the slogan, nout taken out? Nout, taken out. And that brings us on to question 5, which again has got the bonus question after it related to it. Which product or service is known as the world's local bank? The world's local bank. And the bonus question related to this, remember it's 2 points when it comes to marking this. What do the letters of this bank stand for? What do the letters of this bank stand for? And that relates to the answer for question 5 as well. The two are always related. The bonus is related to question 5. Same for every round. Just a few seconds more on that one. It might be a long answer. But we'll move back on to the single point questions. And question 6 in slogans is, it does exactly what it says on the tin. Which product was advertised with, it does exactly what it says on the tin? Question 7, which product is advertised with the line, the ultimate driving machine? The ultimate driving machine. Just 3 to go in the slogans category. Question 8 in that category is, don't leave home without it. What product is advertised with the line, don't leave home without it? And the penultimate one in slogans is, what product was advertised with the slogan, the makeup of makeup artists? What product is the makeup of makeup artists? And the last one in this category is, what product is advertised with the strapline, the Master Chocolatier? The Master Chocolatier. So that ends the slogans round. Quite quick, those ones. But again, we'll have a minute's thinking time now just to finalise any answers you weren't sure of. Hopefully, if you've taken any notes you weren't sure of, obviously I'm not repeating any of the questions, but a minute on the clock starting now. Okay, so that's the minute's thinking time over in round 2. Goes quite quickly, but I think we'll plod on with round 3. Same format again. Then after this, we'll mark the first 3 rounds to see who's got a lead at the moment. Possible score of 36. and then there'll be a small 5-minute break just to go and grab a drink, stretch your legs, let the dog out, whatever you need to do before we finish the last 2 rounds. So round 3 this week is the 1990s. 1990s. And the first question in the round is, which song spent the longest as UK number 1 during the 90s? Which song spent the longest as UK number 1 during the 90s? Again, if you're unsure, just write a little note on your paper. We'll come back to it in that minute's thinking time before we do the marking. Still a minute's thinking time at the end of this round as well. Question 2 in the 1990s. Who became British Prime Minister in November 1990? Who became British Prime Minister in November 1990? And question 3. What was the name of the sheep which was the first to be cloned from an adult cell? What was the name of the sheep which was the first to be cloned from an adult cell? Question 4 in the 1990s. What was the name of the housekeeper in the 90s Irish sitcom Father Ted? What was the name of the housekeeper in the 90s Irish sitcom Father Ted? And that takes us on to question 5, which again might have a bonus question related to it after it. And question 5 for the 1 point is, Freddie Mercury topped the charts in August 1993, 2 years after his death, but with which song? Freddie Mercury topped the charts in August 93, 2 years after his death, but with which song? Quite a few songs to choose from in his back catalogue, so a little bit of thinking time there. Before we move on to the bonus question, which is a 2-pointer related in some way to question 5, obviously, and it is, what country was Freddie Mercury born in? What country was Freddie Mercury born in? So again, 2 points for that when it comes to the marking. Back to the single point questions. Question 6 for 1 point. Jason Priestley, Tori Spelling and Luke Perry starred in which 90s American TV series? Jason Priestley, Tori Spelling and Luke Perry starred in which 90s American TV series? That takes us on to question 7. What colour was the 90s character Mr. Blobby, and what colour spots did he have? What colour was Mr. Blobby and what colour spots did he have? I need both of those colours for the point. Colour he was and the colour of the spots that he had. So just 3 more questions to go before marking and then the break. Question 8 in the 90s. Which 1997 film received 14 Oscar nominations, which, at the time, along with the 1950 film All About Eve, gave it the joint record? Which 1997 film received 14 Oscar nominations, which at the time was a joint record? 2 to go in the 90s round. Question 9 is, which year was the Queen's Annus Horribilis? Which year was the Queen's Annus Horribilis? In the 90s, obviously. Just one more question in this round, then a minute's thinking time. Question 10, last one. Whitney Houston's I Will Always Love You was featured in which film? Whitney Houston's I Will Always Love You was featured in which film? So again, at the end of this round, we'll have a minute's thinking time just to finalise round 3, or if you're unsure about any of the questions and answers in round 1 or 2, because after that minute we'll go on to markings rounds 1 to 3 before we have a quick 5-minute break. So a minute on the clock now just to finalise any answers in those first 3 rounds that you're unsure about. Okay, so that's the thinking time over for those first 3 rounds. Now we'll go on to the marking. So if you've got your pens and paper ready, or if you swapped with anyone, however you're marking, I'll quickly run through the answers fairly quickly. And then after we mark these first 3 rounds, I'll pop the live chat back on and we'll have a 5-minute break just for a leg stretch before we go into the last 2 rounds. So the first round, food and drink. Question 1, what was the animal pancetta comes from? That's from a pig. That's a pig. Question 2, the main ingredient of tarka dal, that is lentils. Question 3, which fatty acid is found in many fish and a major health benefit? That's omega-3. Omega-3. Question 4, the Arbroath Smokies, they are haddock. They are haddock. Question 5, which again has got a bonus question related to it, but the 1.1, if a dish is described as a la Florentine, it would have spinach in it. It would have spinach. And the rather easy bonus question related to that was, what cartoon character got hidden strength by eating this? It was Popeye. Popeye the Sailor Man. 2 points if you get the bonus question right, remember? 2 points for that. Question 6 was, what mace grows around the outside of which other spice? That is nutmeg. That is nutmeg. Question 7 was, what variety of spirits are Hendrick's, Larios and Seagram's? They are gins. They are gins. Question 8. If you saw choux-fleur on a French menu, it would include cauliflower. Cauliflower. Question 9. The Swedish word meaning a buffet-style meal with a selection of hot and cold dishes is smorgasbord. Smorgasbord. And then question 10 in that one, which herb is usually used in the production of pesto? That is, of course, basil. Basil. So, possible 12 points for that one. 12 points for each of the rounds. So if you add them up as you go along, and then we'll go on to round 2's marking. Round 2 was the advertising slogans. Which one is advertised tonight as? It's advertised with the phrase, it's a bit of an animal. That is Pepperami. Number 2, which product loves the job you hate? That's Mr. Muscle. Mr. Muscle. Question 3. Product advertised with the phrase, what's the worst that can happen? That is Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper is what's the worst that can happen. Now, question 4, nout taken out. That was Allinson's bread. Allinson's bread was advertised with that. Question 5, again with a bonus, but what is advertised as the world's local bank? That is HSBC. HSBC. And the bonus question related to that for 2 points. What do the letters of this bank stand for? So that might be a clue even if you didn't know what the bank was. They stand for Hong Kong Shanghai Banking Corporation. Hong Kong Shanghai Banking Corporation. 2 points if you got that. Then question 6, back for the 1 points, was what product does exactly what it says on the tin? That was Ronseal. Ronseal. Question 7, what product is the ultimate driving machine? That is a BMW. BMW. Question 8, which product said don't leave home without it? That is American Express. American Express. Question 9, which product is the makeup of makeup artists? That is Max Factor. And the last question in the slogans round, which product is described as the master chocolatier? That is Lindt chocolate. Lindt. So again, marking possible out of 12 points out of that. If you want to take note of that as we go along, add them up. And then we'll mark round 3 now quickly before we have a 5-minute break. So, round 3, 1990s, first question. Which song spent the longest at UK number 1 during the 90s? That was Everything I Do It For You by Bryan Adams. Everything I Do by Bryan Adams. Question 2, who became the British Prime Minister in November 1902? That was John Major. John Major became Prime Minister then. Question 3, what was the name of the sheep who was first to be cloned from an adult cell? The sheep was called Dolly. Question 4, the name of the housekeeper in Father Ted? That was Mrs. Doyle. Mrs. Doyle, played by Pauline McLean. Now, question 5, again, one with a bonus after it, but the single point one for 5 was Freddie Mercury topped the charts in 93, 2 years after his death, but with which song? That was Living on My Own. Living on My Own, which is his only solo number 1, strange enough. It's only solo number 1. The bonus question, though, for 2 points, what country was Freddie Mercury born in? He was born in 1946 in Tanzania. Tanzania. Well done if you got that one. Question 6, back for the 1-pointers. Jason Priestley, Tori Spelling and Luke Perry starred in Beverly Hills 90210. Question 7, now two answers for this. What colour was the 90s character Mr. Blobby and what colour spots did he have? He was pink with yellow spots. Pink with yellow spots. And I need both of those answers correct for the single point. Question 8, which film received 14 Oscars, a joint record in 97? That was Titanic. Question 9, which year was the Queen's Annus Horribilis? That was 1992. 1992. And the final question, question 10, Whitney Houston's I Will Always Love You featured in the film The Bodyguard. The Bodyguard. So that's 3 rounds done there. 3 rounds done of potentially 12 questions, 12 points in each, so score maybe of 36. We'll have a 5-minute break coming up now, and I'll enable the live chat again if you want to pop any comments on what scores you've got, etc. We'll see how we get on. Then we'll have 5 minutes on the clock. Then we'll come back and do 2 more rounds, and then have an idea of final marking. But I'll pop 5 minutes on the clock now, and see you in a little bit. Okay, so that's the 5 minute break over. Hopefully that was enough time to stretch your legs, grab a drink, let the dog out, whatever you need to do. See some scores coming in now. Scores of 30, 31, all very, very good. Still another 20 points to go, so those targets are over 40, 45, probably still on the cards. So I think we'll just get straight on with round 4, which this week is cars. Now, for this round, you just need to name the manufacturer of the cars from the list of cars. Question 1 in this category is, who makes the Rogue, the Note, and the Pulsar? Who makes the Rogue, the Note, and the Pulsar? I've switched the live chat off again just so you can't put any comments about answers on, but I will switch it on at the end for people to put their final scores on or any other comments. And again, as ever, there'll be a minute's thinking time at the end of each round, so if you're not sure of any cars, just write them down. You can come back to them in that minute's time. Question 2. Which car manufacturer makes the Stilo, the Brava, and the Argo? The Stilo, Brava, and the Argo. Question 3. Again, all car manufacturers. Who makes the RCZ, the 407, and the Boxer? Question 4. Which car manufacturer makes the i20, the i30, and the Tucson? The i20, the i30, and the Tucson. Question 5 in this category, again, which car manufacturer makes the Twingo, the Scenic, and the Espace? Twingo, Scenic, and Espace. And the bonus question related to the manufacturer of that car is, for 2 points, in what decade was that car company founded? In what decade was that car company founded? So 2 points for that when it comes to marking, but we'll move back on to question 6, back for single points. Which car manufacturer makes the Hilux, Igo, and the Yaris? Hilux, Igo, and Yaris. So a reminder, just a single point for those ones. Question 7 in the car category. Who makes the C4, the C1, and the 2CV? Now, some of these are current production cars, some of them slightly older. I'll make that little caveat. Question 8 in car manufacturers. Who makes the Tiguan, Bora, and Fox? Tiguan, Bora, and Fox. Question 9. Once again, which car manufacturer makes the Picanto, Rio, and Sorrento? Picanto, Rio, and Sorrento. And that brings us on to question 10. In the car manufacturers, who makes the Insight, the FRV, and the Jazz? Insight, FRV, and Jazz. Now, hopefully a couple of people I know who are playing the quiz tonight should be able to get the first one. And as per the last few rounds, there'll be a minute's thinking time now just to finalise any answers before we move on to the fifth and final round, and then it'll be into the marking. But I'll pop a minute on the clock now just for you to finalise answers for this round 4. Okay, so that's time up on that minute thinking time to finalise your answers for round 4. Now we'll move on to the fifth and final round. Same as every week, it is general knowledge. So 10 more questions, then we'll go into the marking and see who got the final scores. So the first one in general knowledge is: Suncrisp, Golden Russet and Braeburn are all varieties of which fruit? Suncrisp, Golden Russet and Braeburn are all varieties of which fruit? Moving on to question 2 in general knowledge. Who played the title character in the BBC series Jonathan Creek? Who played the title character in the BBC series Jonathan Creek? As ever, there's a minute thinking time at the end of this round as well, so if you're unsure, do put notes by the side of your paper. But we'll move swiftly on, and question 3 in general knowledge is: which metal has the chemical symbol Pb? Which metal has the chemical symbol Pb? Question 4 in general knowledge: lemurs are native to which island? Lemurs are native to which island? I'll move on to question 5. Again, this is a bonus question after it. So, question 5 for 1 point. Which London Underground line has the most stations? Which London Underground line has the most stations? Only a few to choose from, but I'm not sure how you can work it out if you didn't know the answer straight away, so always worth a guess. And then we come on to the bonus question that's related to question 5. 2 points again. Remember, when we come to mark these, what colour is this line on the tube map? So the line from question 5, what colour is this line on the tube map? So if you know your London Tube, there's a good chance to get 3 points here, or if you're a good guesser. So back into the single point questions again. Question 6 in general knowledge is: which is the only letter in Scrabble to have a value of 5 points? Which is the only letter in Scrabble to have a value of 5 points? Now move on to question 7. And that is, which artist painted Lobster Telephone in 1936? Which artist painted Lobster Telephone in 1936? So just 3 more questions in this round and the quiz as a whole. So we'll go on to question 8 in general knowledge, which is, which type of nut is used to flavour Nutella chocolate spread? Which type of nut is used to flavour Nutella chocolate spread? So 2 more questions to go. There is a minute thinking time at the end, so we'll just get through these quite quickly. The penultimate one in general knowledge is, which type of angle is greater than 90 degrees but less than 180 degrees? Which type of angle is greater than 90 but less than 180? Maybe one for some of you homeschoolers out there. And that brings us to the last question in the round, which is the last question in the quiz as well. What question did the bells of Old Bailey ask in the nursery rhyme Oranges and Lemons? What question did the bells of Old Bailey ask in the nursery rhyme Oranges and Lemons? So that's the end of round 5, general knowledge, 10 questions on that, and the end of the quiz as a whole. I'll just give a minute's thinking time now, so you can either finalise questions and answers for general knowledge or for the cars round, if you've put any notes on that and you're unsure. We'll have a minute on the clock and then we'll mark those 2 rounds and see what the final scores were. But a minute on the clock starting now. Okay, so that's the thinking time over for those last 2 rounds. So we'll now go into the marking and then the last 2 rounds to see what final scores and final totals were. So round 4 was the cars round. Now the first question was Rogue, Note and Pulsar. They are all Nissan cars. Nissan cars. Then question 2, we had the Stilo, Brava and Argo. They are all made by Fiat. Made by Fiat. Question 3, we have the RCZ, 407 and Boxer. They are all cars made by Peugeot, or vehicles made by Peugeot. Question 4, the i20, the i30 and the Tucson are made by Hyundai. Question 5 in the cars round, who makes the Twingo, the Scenic and the Espace? That is Renault. That is Renault. And the bonus question for that is, what decade was that car company founded in? What decade was Renault founded in? It was founded in 1890s, in the 1890s. In 1899 actually, but the 1890s. 2 points if you got that. Very well done if you got that. Question 6 in the cars, single points again for this. The manufacturer of the Hilux, Igo and Yaris, that is Toyota. Toyota. Question 7, maybe the easiest one. Who makes the C4, the C1 and the good old 2CV? That is and was Citroen. Citroen make those. Question 8, the manufacturer of the Tiguan, the Bora and the Fox is Volkswagen. Volkswagen. Question 9, who makes the Picanto, the Rio and the Sorento? That is Kia, who make those. Kia make the Picanto, Rio and Sorento. And then the last one, who makes the Insight, the FRV and the Jazz? They are all vehicles made by Honda. Honda make those. So potential 12 points there if you want to mark your papers on those, add up your scores, and then we'll go on to the marking of the final round, round 5, which was general knowledge. First question was Suncrisp, Golden Russet and Braeburn. They are all varieties of apple. They are all apples. Question 2, who plays the title character in the TV series Jonathan Creek? That is Alan Davis. Alan Davis plays the lead character. Question 3, the metal with the chemical symbol PB. That is lead. Lead has the chemical symbol PB, from the Latin plumbum. That's what the PB stands for. Question 4, lemurs are native to which island? They are native to Madagascar. Madagascar. Then question 5, the 1 point question. Which London Underground line has the most stations? With 60 stations on the line in total, it is the District line. The District line has the most stations on it. And then the bonus 2 points for that, if you knew that or you guessed it, what colour is this line on the tube map? So what colour is the District line? It is green on a London Underground map. 2 points for that if you got that. Question 6, back to the single points, and that was which Scrabble letter is the only one that has a value of 5 points? That is the letter K. K is the only letter that has a 5-point value. Question 7, which artist painted Lobster Telephone in 1936? May be guessable with the year and the title of the painting, but it is Salvador Dali. Salvador Dali painted that picture. Question 8, which type of nut flavours Nutella chocolate spread? That is a hazelnut. Hazelnut is the flavouring in there. Question 9, which type of angle is greater than 90 degrees but less than 180 degrees? That is an obtuse angle. An obtuse angle is greater than 90 but less than 180 degrees. And then the final question, and round 5, and of the quiz, what question did the bells of Old Bailey ask in the nursery rhyme Oranges and Lemons? They asked, when will you pay me? When will you pay me? So that comes to the end of the quiz. You can mark up your scores there. What I'll do now is I'll just put the live chat back live as well, just so you can put any comments on there and enable that. As I say, any scores of 40 plus is a good score, I think. Anything higher than that, very, very good indeed. But just the live chat's back live now, so if you want to pop any comments there, that'd be absolutely great. But if you want to have a look on my Twitter account or YouTube channel, that'd be good as well. You can follow me on there and subscribe, and then you get information about other quizzes that I'll do. This main Tuesday is the main pub quiz, and there's other quizzes during the week. But if you subscribe and follow there, then hopefully I'll see you around on some of them. But like I say, I'll leave the chat open now for about 5-10 minutes if anyone wants to put any comments or put your scores on, and hopefully I'll see you sometime on here next week. All the best.